Добрый день, друзья. Вчерашнее купание в Мичигане мне боком вышло, простыл, нос заложен вообще. Поэтому говорить буду мало. Но тем не менее, с утра мы встали сегодня и поехали в Огайо. What exactly is that place?
We're in West Liberty, Ohio.
And
It's the Ohio Caverns.
подземные пещеры здесь, в общем, тоже типа заповедник своего рода. Поэтому сегодня будем смотреть пещеры. Это вот снаружи, а потом спустимся под землю. И там я вам покажу, что происходит. Это снаружи. Вот только что приехали. Говорю с сильным французским акцентом сегодня. Не знаю, какой акцент. Нос полностью заложен вообще. Завтра в 3:30 на работу. Придется сегодня переедем домой, что-то горячее пить и в постели лежать до завтра. До похода на работу. Тут фонтанчик какой-то. Так, ну пойдем внутрь и спускаться будем под землю. Это внутри магазин. Деревья с камней. Вроде голос улучшился немного. Одна ноздрятка раскупорилась. И поделки какие из камней. Слоны. Камни какие-то. Деревья. Бусы. О! Насекомые. Янтарь. Камни. Ходи. Руки. Да. Слюки. Да, эти ископаемые всякие. В камне. Закаменевшие. Футболки, как всегда. Кепки. А? Ага. Красивые камни. Очки. О, руда. Золото вижу. Дураков. Песня, не помню, с какого фильма. Неизвестный какой-то фильм. Свет, шорец. Китайские игрушки. Это фильм еще в 90-х годах был. Этот, Кол Эйр. Николас Кейдж там играл. Побрякушки. Крестики. Еще побрякушки. Доски. Странные.
On the same ticket. It's got to check each of them.
Yeah, I downloaded each of them because I thought so. Can you take pictures on the inside?
Yeah, pictures are fine, just those videos.
Oh. You hear that, Dima?
Yeah.
This one.
Снаружи как вышли. Спускаться. Живым модулем проехал куда-то на форде пикапе.
Music that keeps your anxiety down
and your attitude up.
on iHeartRadio.
Ждем, пока там надо садиться на автобус. И на автобусе на этом еще куда-то везут. Поэтому пока что ждем, наслаждаемся видами полей вокруг и воздуха в Огайо. Веранда такая снаружи, можно сесть, присесть, посидеть. Сам настил дощатый, деревянный, и вот эти вот ограждения тоже деревянные, а стулья, столы с пластикового материала, вообще вечные практически. Кстати говоря, доски такие тоже есть с пластика, которые вообще не гниют, я не знаю, за счет чего они вообще изнашиваются. Продаются такие доски в этом в магазине типа Caverns, хозтоваров и подобных. Ждем пока автобуса, 15 минут еще ждать. Так, все, идем садиться в автобус вот этот вот Огайо Caverns, America's most colorful Caverns. Нет, какой-то другой, блин. Идем садимся и едем в далекие края.
Alright, well this looks like it's everybody. It's on the smaller side of the tour today, so kind of nice and peaceful for this one. If you have these tickets, you guys are in the right place. It's National Wonder Tour number 2. My name is Steven. I'm going to be your tour guide today. If at any point you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I will try to answer as best as I can. I respond to Steven, Steve, Steve-O, Stevie Wonders, Green from the front, the guy that never stops talking, the guy never shuts up. A simple hey you works the best. The only thing I don't respond to is late for dinner. Tough guy. I do have a few rules to go over real quick before we head on down. My first one for your safety, I have to ask that to stay on this pathway as we make our way down. That's just because we have a fenced off area. It's a 25-30 foot drop. It's just a shortcut to the cavern. I don't want anybody beating me down there. There's a lot of paperwork involved. I'm not a big fan of paperwork. My second rule, we do not allow any food or drinks. The only exception is water. If you have anything else though, just keep it sealed up, tucked away, or disposed in the trash can. Water's the only exception. That's because we have tons of it down there. It does not harm the cavern. Is everybody ready to head on in? All right. In the meantime, just hand off your tickets to my friend Dylan and follow me this way. Alright, so that is not the floor, that's the storage floor. It's going to be at the inside of our street. Yeah, it's going to be right by the bus.
Had a sinkhole on his property. It was a kind of big sinkhole. They didn't think much of it. Sinkholes are very common here. We actually have a road called Sinkhole Road. But this sinkhole would drain of water rather quickly. And so one of his farm hands, by the name of Robert Nossinger, who was 17, decided he wanted to go digging in the sinkhole. Now, he was from Virginia, so he knew a few things about caves and caverns. However, I do not suggest digging into a sinkhole. That's not very safe. So please don't do that. But he grabbed a buddy with him, and on August 17th, they started digging. They hit a crack in the limestone, and his friend actually ran away running, thinking there were demons down there because 54-degree air rushed up at them. And this was 1897, so they didn't have air conditioning. But Robert kept going, and on August 17th of 1897, he was the first living thing in our cavern. And then 10 days later, we opened for tours to Mr. Eames' friends and family. And on September 9th of that year, we opened as Mount Tabor Tours to the general public. And then I will continue our story once we get in there. However, I do have a quick rule before we get out. If you guys have any food or drink, please seal it up and tuck it away. I don't see any, so that problem solves itself. But if you have any water, that's the only exception to my rule because there's already water down there. Katie, you don't drive slow.
But can we drink the water and not die?
You can drink the water. Okay.
Important questions.
Okay. And then I have two other rules. My first rule being if you have any phones or devices, you can take photos. You can use flash. That doesn't hurt anything. However, please don't take video. First came down here. Now, when he came down here, it did look a bit different. First off, there weren't any lights. He would have been carrying an oil lantern. And second, the mud levels would have been really high. In this area, they would have been around my shoulder height. If you ever want to see how tall the mud was, just look for a mud shelf and bring it all the way over. So he would have been crawling on his hands and knees throughout most of the caverns, and in some places he would have been army crawling. Now, he crawled 800 feet in and 800 feet out, ran up to Mr. Eames and told Mr. Eames what he found. Mr. Eames' eyes lit up with dollar signs, and he thought he could make a buck or two off this place, and a buck or two he did make. But as we go, you will start to notice some names on the walls. Now, these names on the walls, we call them historical graffiti now. We call this a long crawl. It goes about 100 yards in, and then it dead ends. Now, if you were one of those early tourists, you would not want to come down here because you wanted to get the farthest, and by the time you got down there, you hadn't made it very far, and you'd have to climb back out. But, speaking of those names, my favorite one is right here. It just says pig. Short and sweet. Okay, so right here it's more open. It would have been great for crystal growth. So you're probably like, Jane, where are these crystals? I mean, we saw them advertised everywhere. Now, the reason we don't have very many crystals on this part of the caverns is because those early tourists would have saw those crystals and took them home for souvenirs because we didn't have a gift shop or anything, and they were really pretty, so they would have broken them off. Little did they know they were doing thousands of years worth of damage. Now, we can't really blame them because we are a farming community. So they thought they would grow back in about a week, a month, maybe a year at most. But to show you guys just how much damage they were doing, if you look right over here, you'll see a bunch of really small crystals. Now, all these crystals are smaller than my pinky finger. Some of them are even smaller than my pinky nail. These are all about 100 years old. So that really does show you just how much damage they were doing. But I would like to remind everybody that we don't allow videos in the caverns. And then, so right here is a great place to stop and show you guys the show you guys the shape of the caverns. Now if you look behind you, you'll notice that it looks like an upside down bell or maybe a T shape. Now the reason for this is because the glaciers above us proved to be too heavy, and they put this crack in the limestone that we will actually be following for the majority of the tour today. Now when this glacier started melting, the water started coming down here and creating an underground river. So everything we are walking through is an underground riverbed. Now that river did stay on top of the, did stay at the top longer than it stayed at the bottom, so that is one reason it is shaped like this. But another reason has to do with an acid called carbonic acid. Now, carbonic acid would float to the top, and ever since we passed the road, we have been on Gomer family territory. Now, the Gomers forced Mr. Reeves to give up part of his caverns because they did own more. And then when they came down here, they noticed the state of the caverns. They saw that it was all ruined, that there was graffiti everywhere, and all the crystals were gone. So they decided to sell the caverns to two brothers out of Dayton by the name of Al and Iron Smith. Now, these brothers were coal miners, so they did know a thing or two about the caverns. And they had some pretty good ideas for the caverns. The first idea being that they started creating these walking trails and digging out the mud. So it took from 1922 to 1925, so it took about 3.5 years to take out all the mud. And as they were going, they were stringing up lights. Now these are replicas of the original lights, however, the only difference is they are not bare wire. So if you accidentally touch them, you won't get a nasty shock like you did then. Don't touch them though, they're kind of like glorified Christmas lights. If you knock one down, the rest of them will come down and it's not fun. But if you just happen to touch one. And then they came to this area and they noticed that the lights were not doing the ceiling justice, so one of them ran up. They grabbed a milking stool and a lampshade and created our first ever spotlight here at the Caverns. Now, no, that is not the original milking stool. 90% humidity and wood do not mix. It's about our fourth replica. That is not the original light bulb. It's LED now, but that is the original lampshade. So it's about 100 years old, so happy birthday, lampshade. So that is our first ever spotlight here at the Caverns. But again, I would like to remind everybody that we do not use video in the Caverns. And take your time. Anyway, you will notice that this is a more open area. Now, this is the original floor right here. So this would have been a great spot for those early tourists to stretch out, maybe walk a little if they could. But once they were done stretching, they would have realized that there were 6 pathways to go through. The one we came from, 4 along the wall, and then the one we're about to go through. Now, they would have been following that crack in the limestone just like we did. This was told to be their tour guide. You guys want to see that demonstration? Sure. So in order for this to work, I do need anything giving off light to be put away. And if you have any like watches or something. So right here is another one of those landmarks. It is this guy right here. Now we call this the Giant's Coffin, but it is just a rock. Now I really like the story behind the Giant's Coffin because it does sound like something me and my friends would do to each other. So let's say you knew the Caverns better than your friends. You would have ran up here, hidden one of these nooks or crannies, and dimmed down your oil lantern. Then once you heard your friends coming, you would have turned it back on and began to raise and lower it, making it look like the lid of the coffin was opening. Add a few creaking noises, and you would have scared the bejeebers out of your friends. They would have ran away, and you would have came up here and wrote your name on the wall saying, haha, I made it farther than you. So the names do start to pick up quite a bit. But before I show you guys my favorite set of names, I would again like to remind everybody we don't allow video here.
Так, ну тут изображение всяких самоцветов, камней, которые вообще в природе встречаются. Тут дети могут играться, типа это самое, мыть золото, имитация мытья золота. И ну кое-что в этом подземелье поснимал. Девочка там это все не давала спокойно снимать, чтобы типа никто не ударился головой. Ну, она рассказала, что как бы пещеры эти, они первоначально природой созданы, но кое-что там люди еще в 19 веке, потомки этих людей здесь до сих пор живут в этой округе. Рыли лопатой, там. Ну а пол сейчас там залит бетоном. Сейчас еще будет вторая экскурсия у нас. Это была первая, сейчас будет вторая. Ждем поездки на вторую экскурсию. Мостик снаружи.
Okay, folks, if you look over that way, you'll see a white building with a red roof. That building is actually our exit for today. We're going to twist and turn for about a mile before heading up the 60 stairs to that building. It does look good. So if you look right down there, you'll see a gray door. That is our entrance for today. We are going to start at a depth of 30 feet below ground. Our deepest point on board today will be 103 feet below ground. I will let you know when that happens, just so you're not guessing the whole time. We have 3 different rock layers that make up this area. The first one is top. It is actually what supplies the iron you will see inside the cavern today. Now the third rock layer is Columbus Gray limestone. It's called Columbus Gray because it's the material they use to make our state.
Ага.
That also means we don't get any animal life inside the cavern, because we do have some steel doors blocking off our entrances, so it's very weird to find a frog in there. So yeah. So I do have 2 more rules to go over before we head inside. The first one is we do not allow video taking while inside the cavern. That includes any GoPro, selfie sticks, any feel a dip in the floor. That dip will tell you that you are 103 feet below ground, which is our deepest point on tour today. Enjoy rock bottom while it lasts, because after that we head up some stairs.
Because a story is 10 feet. Yeah.
And right here is where that dip is going to happen. Make sure you watch your head because the ceiling also dips.
That's right there.
Oh, I see. I see. So the mud level was right here.
This is natural here.
Got it. They just opened it up and found it.
And carved it.
Yeah. So they must have brought. Did they carve it until they got the rock?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you said something about that.
So, are you talking about
Esperemos no nos quede, cámara.
Okay.
and then at one point there's gravel.
La tabla creo que casi no me estoy moviendo de los pies.
Okay. So sometimes the floor will sound a bit hollow. That's because there's a wood layer below it. Okay, folks, after heading up those totally natural concrete steps, you've actually entered our second room. This is our biggest room inside the entire cavern system. It is about the size of half an American football field. Do you have any guesses as to what we call our biggest room?
The big room.
That is exactly correct. We do not have very creative minds down here. We call it the big room because it is our biggest room and because it holds our two largest columns right here in the middle. Sorry if I just blinded anyone. They're both about 5 feet tall. Now that is taller than the Crystal King, but columns take less time to come together, so he's still older, which means he still has his crown. They're actually watching our newest column form right here on this rock ledge. There's a stalactite and a stalagmite about a 1/16 of an inch apart. Just enough space to swipe your credit card through. We estimate they will touch in 35 to 50 years. Come back that day, ask for Abby as a tour guide, we'll have a pizza party.
I'll be dead.
Ticket that 65 to 50.
35. Ticket of 16. Yeah, that'd be what, 99?
I mean, Betty White was 99. So right here I do have a quick favor to ask. If we could all take a small step to the right side of the path, we do need Morgan to come up to the front again, and we have run out of fancy tricks.
Pardon me.
Just a reminder, we do not allow any videotaping
Excuse me,
while
guys.
inside this path. That's awesome.
Are those two people workers?
And it was still.
Oh, is that the weird
degrees.
one?
Yeah, and they got a private tour.
That's gotta be it.
I don't know if I'd want to do it.
Okay, folks, so I think a majority of you have been able to see that dirty looking crystal. Do you have any guesses as to what caused that discoloration?
Wait, where is it?
Either iron or magnesium.
That's a very good guess, but it actually
3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. Would you like a photograph taken today? Just the two of you? Watch your heads around the corner. I'll tell you when to stop.
Enjoy your life. No worries.
Okay, I got like 2 people, and that's including Morgan in the back. Perfect. Do you know our state song? That's the second question. Does anyone know our state song?
Oh, Ohio.
I mean, it's close. Our state song is called Beautiful Ohio, or Ohio the Beautiful, and I will actually play it for you. Beautiful Ohio was written in 1918 about the Ohio River. In 1928, we decided the caverns were prettier than the river, so we started playing it down here after every tour as a thank you for coming out. You guys are now part of that long-standing tradition. It did not become our state song until 1969, so we were playing it 41 years before it was officially our state song. I'm not going to make you guys sit down here and listen to all of it. It will play as we walk out of the caverns. We have a few more twists and turns than our 60 stairs to the top. Please take your time on those stairs. Thank you guys for coming out today. You guys were a wonderful tour group, literally the best group I could hope for. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you guys enjoyed the tour, my name is Abby. If you did not enjoy the tour, Abby does not work here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, no problem. It was my pleasure.
Ну и в завершение к видео о кавернах, о подземных пещерах в Огайо. Короткое видео городка, прямо непосредственно рядом расположенного с этими пещерами. Городок называется West Liberty, Огайо. Маленький городок, практически одна центральная улица. Ну вот такой вот вон этот городок. Все, идем забирать машину с парковки и домой. Всем пока.